What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. It's been a long time since I've made one of these, and I know you guys have been wondering what happened to Spencer. Where is he? You can't sleep at night because you've been wondering. Well, have no fear. I'm back. I'm kidding. No one was thinking that whatsoever, but I am back, so I'm excited to be here. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the difference between having a $5,000 per month real estate surplus fund wholesaling business versus a $10,000 versus a $50,000 versus a $100,000 per month business, and what the main differences are. And I'm really excited to share this stuff because it's been stuff I've been thinking about a lot. You know, at the end of the day, making some extra money, an extra like $5K a month is really cool. But I think all of us are in this business not to make a living, but to make a I don't want to say a lot of money, but to do very well, right? We're not here to make an extra couple $1,000s a month. We're here to make something extraordinary. And I've really thought about it, and I've started asking good friends of mine and people I look up to in business that are doing 10 million a year, right? That are doing 500,000 a month, right? What is the difference? Like what is it that takes somebody from doing 10,000 a month to 100,000 a month to $1 million a month? And this video is going to answer all those questions. So I'm super excited. And so I don't want to waste any of your time. Let's just jump right into it. I think you guys get the point. And let's just jump into what we need to talk about here, okay? And the first thing I want to talk about that's super important is this quadrant right here, okay? And this is not, I did not make this up, okay? This comes from Robert Kiyosaki, if you know who that is. And he's got the cash flow quadrant. He's got the E quadrant, the S quadrant, the B quadrant, and then the I quadrant. And this is where it really all begins, because many people that start out in surplus funds or wholesaling or fix and flipping or whatever it is, they start out in this S column, okay? And this is actually, it's not even real estate oriented. It's just usually when people start a business, they start out in the S quadrant. And, and then they make fun of people in the E quadrant. And the problem is that, honestly, in my opinion, the S quadrant is the worst place to be for two very big reasons. Number one is you get taxed the most, okay? Because you get taxed just like you're working a 9 to 5, but because you're making more, you get taxed more. Plus, you got to pay all these other business taxes. It's just ridiculous, okay? Don't even get me started on that, okay? But then the second reason, and this is way more important than the taxes, is that in the S quadrant, it's very not scalable, okay? Not scalable. And so what you're doing in the S quadrant, let's say you're doing surplus funds, right? Let's say you're making $10,000 a month doing surplus funds. Well, how do you go from doing $10,000 a month to $100,000 a month? You can't, right? The only way to do it is to leave the S quadrant and go to the B quadrant, okay? I'll give you another example I like to use. There's never been a billion-dollar company with one employee, okay? It always takes a team. It takes a group effort. It takes systems. It takes operations, procedures to build something that big, right? So when you're in the S quadrant, a lot of times you're doing everything yourself. Hey, I'm going to cold call. I'm going to fulfill on these deals. I'm going to scrape the data. I'm going to do all the things by myself. But the problem is that does not scale. You can't take that past a certain point, because at the end of the day, we all only have 24 hours a day, and it's impossible for us to work even that much, right? So you say, okay, even if you're working 12, 14 hours a day, there's only so much you can do in that 12 to 14 hours, okay? I mean, you have to sleep, you have to eat. Of course, you probably want to spend time with your family and doing some things that you enjoy too. So you can only do so much, okay? So the goal is not to be in the S quadrant. We don't want to be in the S quadrant. We want to leave the S quadrant and go into the B quadrant, okay? And the biggest difference between the B versus the S, okay, what is the B versus the S, is the S quadrant relies on your own efforts, okay? Our efforts. I'm going to put our efforts, okay, for an E. Okay, it relies on our time, okay? And because of this, it's not scalable. But with the B quadrant, okay, it relies on, to accomplish the same goals as the S quadrant, it relies on other people's efforts, right? Other people's, okay? And it relies on systems, okay? So other people's time, other people's efforts, and other automated systems that will accomplish the same goal. Okay, now I know this is seems really pie in the sky, but we have to start here. Once you understand this, then the road to scaling becomes a lot more simpler. And so keeping that in mind, right, understand that, okay, we have to find a way where, how can we get deals without it all being reliant on our time, right? And the first thing we got to do is figure out what's called an ADAP, okay? And this stands for Automated Deal Acquisition Process. Okay, I'm not going to write that out because I don't think you guys want to see me write that out for 30 seconds, okay? But it stands for Automated Deal Acquisition Process. And in English, what that means is, how do we get deals to be generated automatically without it being reliant on our time or on our efforts solely, okay? And there's a million different ways to do this, okay? You can run online ads, right? Okay, you can, build a sales team, right? You can do automated emails and texts, right? You can do even like more traditional stuff like direct mail. Okay, I know direct mail is a big popular subject nowadays. Okay, everybody loves getting direct mail. But the point is that there's more than one way to do this, but you have to start by creating a process that's automated. Okay, it can't be reliant on you doing everything, right? So even with the sales calls example, I know a ton of people get started with surplus funds, and we teach it too for beginners to start by doing cold calls and just making cold calls and getting deals yourself. And that's absolutely the way you should start. But once you get to a point where you're doing 2, 3, 4, 5 deals a month, your amount of reward is going to be capped because it's reliant on how many calls you can make in a day. And unless you can stop time and make phone calls, that's going to be, obviously, there's going to be a hard cap to that. But if you build out a sales team and you have other people making calls for you, all of a sudden now you've just unlocked a huge amount of scale, right? Hopefully this makes sense, guys. I know this is kind of, again, more pie in the sky stuff, but I'm really hoping that this stuff makes sense because I know a ton of you guys right now are stuck at like that 1, 2, 3 deals a month, and you're like, you're just kind of grinding yourself against this like endless amount of cold calls and stuff like that. But it's like, how do you take that from there, getting to 10 deals a month, 20 deals a month, 50 deals a month, to $20,000 a month, to $50,000 to $100,000 a month? Like, what is the big difference? And it's this: it's building a system that generates deals that's not reliant on your time, your energy, your efforts. Okay. Now, once you've done that, there's a second part to this equation. You can't just do this and then run away. It does not work like that. Okay. The second part to this equation, and with surplus funds, is actually very easy. Okay. Or a lot easier than other niches, I should say. Nothing's very easy, but a lot easier than other niches. You need to build an ADFP, okay? And an ADFP stands for an Automated Deal Fulfillment Process, okay? So what have we created? We've created an automated deal acquisition process. So now we're getting all these deals. They're coming in, right? But now, holy crap, I got 30 deals, and I got to fulfill on these 30 deals. How am I going to do that, right? I can't like call 30 people and be on the phone all the time. Like, it's impossible, right? So the second part you have to do to unlock massive scale is create an automated deal fulfillment process. And this is, just like the name implies, it's how do you fulfill deals? How do you take deals from being under contract to being paid out automatically without you sitting there and spending all your time doing it, okay? And of course, guys, I'm not trying to build a passive income business, okay? You're going to have some involvement in both of these systems, okay, at some level. You're going to have some involvement on the acquisition side. You're going to have some involvement on the fulfillment side. But at the end of the day, you can't make the system reliant on just you and just your time, because you'll block yourself out of scale. You'll block yourself out of scale, okay? So how do we build this out? Well, if we think about it, like, it depends on the niche you're in, right? You guys know in my program we teach mortgage surplus funds, but we also teach tax surplus funds. We're teaching bankruptcy surplus funds now, and we're teaching state funds, okay? And all those niches are slightly different in how they operate, okay? But there's a couple things that you can keep the same. The first thing is you can build a fulfillment, I call it a fulfillment team, an FT, fulfillment team, okay? And that fulfillment team is gonna do things like hiring a VA to be emailing your current clients that are under contract, giving them a weekly or bi-weekly update of what's going on. Hey, Samantha, just wanted to give you a heads up. We're the deal's in court right now. We're working on it. We'll email you next week. If you need anything, of course, email us, call us, all that. Okay, and that way you can keep your clients happy. And because everyone, as you guys know that have done deals, your clients, while the deal's on contract, sometimes they get a little antsy. And so you got to keep, hey, everything's good, just relax, we're working on it, this is what's going on. And you want to keep them in the loop, okay? And then on the flip side of it, it's like, okay, well, how do we actually fulfill the deal? Because right now, okay, we're just keeping the client happy, but how do we actually fulfill it? Well, that's where we have to build out the rest of our fulfillment team. And we do that by putting the right pieces in the right places. So if you're doing mortgage surplus funds or tax surplus funds, you're going to want an attorney, right? And you're going to want to make it to where literally you're like, hey, this is my attorney. I get the deal, send them a contract, send them the contracts. I make sure it looks good, send them the contracts. They take care of what they got to take care of. They keep me updated so I can keep the client updated, and that's our process. And the attorney's happy with it. We're happy with it. Everybody's happy with it, okay? And that is the secret, okay? That's the secret. You have to build out a little bit of a network, a little bit of a team on the fulfillment side, and then put in some systems and standard procedures so that everything runs smoothly without you sitting there doing everything, all right? That's why I recommend you hire a VA to email your customers, and make sure it's a good VA, but email your clients, and just let them know, hey, this is what's going on with the deal. If you need anything, of course, email us, call us. We're happy to talk to you. Another big tip that I want to give you guys out there that have several deals going on at once, when you're sending out these emails, don't necessarily give a phone number, but reply and say, hey, and give them a link with like a schedule form so that they can schedule a time to call with you. And that way, you're not just getting random calls all the time, because it's really hard to focus on building and growing your business when you're getting random phone calls. That's why I don't even have a phone right now. Okay, I've thrown it away. But the second thing is it'll allow the customer to be like, oh yeah, this time works for me. And that way, you can prepare, you can kind of see what their questions are ahead of time. You can ask them, hey, what's this call in regards to? And it just makes things a lot smoother. So I recommend that when your VA is sending out those emails to keep your client up to date, that you send out like a schedule. The one we use is called Schedule Once. I'll show it to you guys right here. Okay. If Google loads, I'll show it to you. So Schedule Once right here, what you can use, you can create this. It'll take like 5 seconds. You just add some questions in there, you set the scheduling parameters, and you can just embed like the link into the emails, and that way they can always schedule calls with you. And again, you're not constantly being bombarded with phone calls about like minor things, okay? But anyways, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope this makes sense. This is a short video, I know, but there's so much to talk about this stuff. And because of that, I know a ton of you guys are looking to scale. I'm going to be hosting a State of the Union address next Wednesday. We're going to be talking all about scaling, and we have a ton of amazing, awesome announcements coming out there as well. So guys, please show up next Wednesday, February 19th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be talking about scaling your business, taking it from 1 deal a month, 2 deals a month, to 10 deals a month, to 100,000 a month, to 200,000, to $1 million a month, and beyond. So again, guys, please, if you guys can make it on February 19th, 2020, at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be hosting another State of the Union address. We're going to be covering all sorts of scaling tactics and scaling stuff like that. And I'm actually going to be releasing something really cool for free to all of you guys that show up for the live stream that day. That has to do with scaling. It's actually going to really help you guys scale. So please make sure you guys are showing up for that. And with that being said, I will see you guys on the next YouTube video. Hopefully it won't be like 7 years from now. It'll be it'll be next week because I'm doing this live stream. So I'll see you guys there on the live stream, and I'll see you guys later.